You are now tuned into the Panther Nation podcast.
Delone fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flag down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
Seal, he's intercepted by Keekly. Keekly inside the 20 to the 10 and to the end zone for another Panther.
What's going on, everybody? I want to take questions regarding the fantasy waiver wire today. I'm probably going to make this a weekly thing if I get enough reaction. I'm focused primarily on fantasy. I'll talk about next week's game as well, but my primary focus is fantasy for sure. And I need to change this because it shouldn't be week 2. It will be week 3. So let me make that adjustment real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Wait for some folks to make an appearance in here. No Rashad today because Rashad is retired. So you're not going to get too much Rashad today, that's for sure. But I'm here to take your fantasy questions and answers. What's up, Grandaz? How you doing, my man? But we can just go over some of the players that you should be aiming for. There was a lot of injuries. Which was a brutal week of injuries last week, man. The Panthers lost McCaffrey. The Panthers lost McCaffrey. Giants lost Saquon Barkley. Raheem Mostert got hurt for the 49ers. Julio was injured. Like there was a lot of major injuries from a fantasy perspective, and so now it's time to pick up the pieces. Like Tyrod Taylor got hurt during pregame. It was rough sledding. There was a lot of folks that are done for the year. Fortunately for us, McCaffrey, he got out of there with a high ankle sprain, so we might actually see McCaffrey return. But there's a lot of players that are pretty much done for the year, like Saquon Barkley, who tore his ACL. I will go on the record in saying that the top pickup that you need to do if you're desperate for it, if you have a running back need, maybe you have Le'Veon Bell. And right now Bell's hurt because he got hurt week 1. Maybe you have Le'Veon Bell and you need another running back. Mike Davis from the Carolina Panthers is available in a lot of leagues. I always tell my fantasy folks, if you're going to draft a running back number 1 overall, you better get their handcuff, and a lot of people didn't take heed. So Mike Davis is available in a multitude of leagues across all platforms. So I have Mike Davis as my top guy for this week, but Mike Davis is a short-term fix because I anticipate that McCaffrey is returning. So, but if you need help, Mike Davis is probably your quicker bet with regards to that, because we know that McCaffrey's going to be out from at least 4 to 6 weeks. I know he's going to try to get back sooner, but even if he gets back sooner, I don't anticipate it being more than 3 weeks at the earliest. So at least for 3 weeks, you got Mike Davis. The coach already said that the offense isn't going to change. He's probably the surefire pickup that can help you for short term for now. Now, there's other options that you can go with. Like I said before, Saquon Barkley tore his ACL, so he's out for the season. So if you need something long term, you can look at who's going to be the backup for the New York Football Giants. But there's a problem. There's a 3-headed monster now. Initially it was a 2-headed monster, but now it's a 3-headed monster. So now you're going to have to figure out the type of roles that you're going to be dealing with here. Because the Giants have Deion Lewis and Wayne Gallman. They were already on the roster, and they just recently signed Devonta Freeman. Remember him? He used to play for the Falcons. So they just signed Devonta Freeman, and so it's going to be a 3-headed monster. So with regards to the Giants, I would stay away. You have to be super desperate. If you're in a PPR league, I would say Deion Lewis. If you're in a PPR league and you need a running back now and you miss Mike Davis, I would probably pick Deion Lewis over Wayne Gallman, because at least Deion Lewis will get the PPR popping. He'll get some catches, get you some points with the catches. But you might not have as much TD upside as Wayne Gallman does. So if you're in a PPR league, I prefer Deion Lewis. Long term, it's probably going to be Freeman. I just don't think Freeman's going to be able to do much for you for week 3. So I recommend Freeman if you got some time. He's on my list. I'm going down the line with the running backs, and then I'll do my rankings. But I'll answer Slim J's question. Would you buy Cam Akers low? It's got to be super low. Because Cam Akers getting injured with Cam Akers opens up the door for another running back that was recently drafted to the Rams, and that would be Darrell Henderson Jr. Malcolm Brown's hurt. He got hurt late in the game. Cam Akers is hurt. Cam might be gone for a while. I guess that rib injury was serious with the rib cartilage. So he might be gone for a little bit. So when you take that into consideration, I mean, you could buy low on Cam Akers, but don't give up too much. Help Panther Nation podcast. I need a defense. But I'll get you a defense, Jerome. I'll help you out in a minute. I'm going to answer this question. Mike Davis, Jerick McKinnon, Josh Kelly. How would you rank them? I would rank them Mike Davis, Joshua Kelly, Jerick McKinnon in that order. That's the order that I'm rolling with. So that's that for the Rams. If Darrell Henderson is a good pickup that you could utilize, I probably would prefer Darrell Henderson for a short term over Deion Lewis, Gallman or Freeman, to be honest with you, because Darrell Henderson, it looks like you're going to get a week of him doing his thing. So I mean, he could be an easy slip in running back that you can utilize for next week for the Rams. With regards to other running backs, like I like Jerick McKinnon. We got Moser and Tevin Coleman being out, both on week 3. I think there's a concern because he's had an injury history. But he could get a role long term. He might be somebody that you could take advantage of this week. But when you start thinking about long term options, Jerick McKinnon is a good option, but he has injury issues. So we were talking about Josh Kelly from the Chargers. I think Slim J, I think he's committed to a committee, but I think those players have roles. I think those players have roles, and I think there's going to be room for maybe 2 out of the 3, just not all 3. And I mean, right now, at the beginning of the season, I was thinking Akers and Malcolm Brown. But depending on what happens with Darrell Henderson this week, Darrell Henderson, if he performs very well, could potentially get himself a place and might get more carries. The concern about playing a Rams running back is kind of similar to the Giants right now. You're going to have trouble trying to figure out which guy to play, what game is going to be. Similar to how the Patriots have been in the past. You had to figure out whether it was going to be a James White game or if it was going to be a Sony Michel game. Or maybe it could have been a Rex Burkhead game. Or a Brandon Bolden game, so you never knew. So which is why you would avoid that type of situation. Let me go see some of these questions that are in the chat right now, and then I'll get back to some of these other players that you could probably go look into. Jeff Wilson, time until Brady gets back. I don't know if I have interest in that backfield, man. Yeah, but the problem with owning any of the Rams running backs is that you're going to be guessing. Like, you might have weeks where your guy might get you 20, but then you have a week where they'll get you 6. Now, if you're willing to deal with that volatility, then that's fine. Go for it. I mean, but when I build my team, I'm thinking about a solid floor. I want guys with solid floors. Like, if I have a team that I know that I'm going to get a consistent 110 points every week, then I'd rather have that than something that could go 80, then 120, then 90, then 60. You know, because a lot of teams can do well with that, but then when it's playoff time, consistency can potentially win the race. All right, Panther Nation Podcast, you need help. You need a defense. Let's see. I typically stream defenses, so I always try to find one that's available on the wire. Give me some options, Jerome, and I'll give you my recommendations with regards to a defense. Because I don't know what's available in the league that you're concerned about. Thoughts of Gesicki having another solid week. I've been a fan of Mike Gesicki going into the season, so I'm not shocked by it. I think he should be picked up if he's not picked up in leagues. I think he could potentially I think he could be a tight end 1 for the rest of the way. He could end up going down. He can end up being a top 12 tight end for the remainder of the season. He gets enough opportunity. He gets enough catch. He gets enough targets. So I think he can roll and become a tight end you can depend on, which goes back to what I've always said about taking tight ends early. Getting ready to the Vikings for the Chargers or the Rams. I like the Chargers defense a lot, especially this week. We're going against Carolina. Chargers got a pretty good secondary. They have Melvin Ingram in the pass rush. I prefer the Chargers defense over anybody else at this point, over the options that you have. The Vikings defense is kind of can't be trusted, and I think Kirk Cousins playing bad is going to cost the defense of the Vikings, unfortunately. Joe Burrow over Watson. I'm not ready to commit to that, but granted, I can understand why you would do it. Watson is missing DeAndre Hopkins, man. He's missing him big time, and Will Fuller was a disgrace on Sunday. A disgrace. That should have been a place where he could have shined, and he didn't. Miko says, I'm thinking about Gesicki over Ertz. I'm not ready for that. Let's do Ertz. I'm taking Ertz over Gesicki. Dolphins D or Falcons D? Who are they playing? Let me see. I need to know who they're playing. The Dolphins are playing the Jags, and the Falcons are playing the Bears. I'm taking the Dolphins there. Give me the Dolphins there. Oh yeah, I'll take Gesicki over Goddard, yes, but not over. Somebody asked about Gesicki over. Nah, I got it, man. I'm taking Dolphins defense over Falcons defense next week. All right, now with regards to more waiver wire pickups, we got Myles Gaskin from the Miami Dolphins, another running back. Looks like he's getting the bulk of the carries. I'm rolling with Gaskin. I like Gaskin. I think he's going to get the volume. Probably in the flex range, low end RB2 flex range. You could probably utilize Myles Gaskin. I mean, running backs are at a premium right now, and already with all the injuries. So I think when you walk into the waiver wire, you got to start thinking short and long, especially if you lost one of your main guys. I think if you lost Saquon Barkley, man, it's going to be a mess for you because there's no surefire backup for him. If you lost Christian McCaffrey, then you should go after Mike Davis. But other people will probably go after him as well. Like, I plan on going after Mike Davis in every league I can get him in because running backs, I did a lot of 0 RB this year. So running backs for me is going to be something that is going to be at a premium. But all right, moving on to other players that should be considered to be for pickup. Let's see. Russell Gage, wide receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. He is getting some targets. He's getting opportunity. Atlanta's going to be in a lot of shootouts. Normally I wouldn't say, like, there are too many offenses that can support 3 wide receivers. The Falcons should have one. So I like Russell Gage. I think more and more leagues have already picked him up. But if he's still available, he's an option if you need help at wide receiver. He's probably my top. Him and Corey Davis are my 2 top wide receiver options in the wire. MVS as well. So, with Devontae Adams getting hurt, see, man, injuries was not a game. With Adams getting hurt, you got MVS, you got Allen Lazard. So that's options as well. But I'm pretty sure a lot of teams already picked up MVS. So if Lazard's still in there, Lazard is an option as long as Devontae Adams is out. Yeah, Will Fuller is by far one of the most irritating wide receivers that I've dealt with in fantasy football. But I promise you, when I drop Fuller, he's gonna go off. I just, because that's what he does. When I have him, he doesn't do anything. When I don't have him, he does everything. So that's pretty much my issues with him. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Allen Lazard, Corey Davis, Russell Gage, and Mecole Hardman. I mean, if you're desperate, you can't be mad at having a wide receiver in the Chiefs' offense, right? Traquan Smith, if Mike Thomas is continuing to be out. Emmanuel Sanders is a certifiable smoke screen. You want to talk about terrible? No catches yesterday for Emmanuel Sanders. So that's scary to say the least. Pick up Mike Davis or Peyton Lindsey. Lindsey's not out for the season. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. There's no other running backs that you can drop. Would you add Jamal Williams as Aaron Jones' handcuff? Yep. I think what's interesting, man. After all the running backs that went down last week, I still think people haven't learned about the art of the handcuff. Like, you really need to. I believe that you should try to handcuff your RB1. So if you have somebody that's an RB1, and let me be clear, not somebody that's playing the role as an RB1, because there's some folks who have RB2s as RB1s because they made a decision to draft running backs later. But somebody that's like a surefire top 10 running back in fantasy, you need to get his handcuff. Like Dalvin Cook, you need to get his handcuff. Christian McCaffrey, you need to have his handcuff. Saquon Barkley, you need to take one of those Giants running backs to be his handcuffs. Take a guess at who it was going to be. But when these top running backs, Alvin Kamara, you need to have Latavius Murray in your lineup if you're an Alvin Kamara owner. Because if Alvin Kamara goes down, Latavius Murray could be a RB1. So you need to handcuff these guys. And now people are probably going to do it this waiver wire after what the hell just happened last week. But you should have done it before. So I'm in 5 leagues. And out of those 5 leagues, there's only one Christian McCaffrey owner that took their handcuff. There's no Barkley owners that took a handcuff. And the thing is, if you have Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray has value outside of him being a handcuff. So he ain't gonna probably be in there anyway. So if you're a Kamara owner, you would have had a reach to get him in the draft anyway. Is Sanders no catches on Sanders or Breeze? A combination. It's a combination. Is it time to bench Gurley for Kelly? Possibly. Josh Kelly got over 20 carries last week. When you get that type, I'm starting to get afraid for Eckler, but there might be enough room for both of them. But when you get that type of usage, that's something you have to be paying attention to. Drop Alshon Jeffrey for Russell Gage. How many more weeks is Alshon out? Because Alshon's the one when he comes back. The problem is that how long are you going to wait? But Alshon has been an injury-prone cat all the time. I can tell you what exactly is going on with Julio. A lot of teams are scheming to stop him. So that benefits Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. I mean, I think Matt Ryan is close to wash, but I mean he's not a dumb quarterback. He ain't gonna throw to Julio Jones if he's double teamed all the time. But I don't know what the other team's gonna do because Calvin Ridley has been taking advantage of them focusing on Julio, to say the least. But let's see here. Trying to see what else we got here. Oh, yo, Alshon's gonna be out a while. I mean, if you need the roster spot, I have no problem with you doing it. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be a couple more weeks out. But, yeah, he's droppable at this point. You can drop Alshon for, okay, I'm trying to find it for Russell Gage. I'm fine with that. You should go ahead and do it. Yeah, Julio is good to have a 40-burger at some point, but you got to wait for it. But then the moment you decide to bench Julio, he's going to have his 40-point game. So you got to be patient with Julio. You have to embrace the Julio, so to speak. Because you're going to have some level of patience with Julio Jones. With regards to tight end, we talked about Gesicki earlier. Gesicki and Jonnu Smith is available in a lot of leagues. So those are your two options at tight end. Jordan Reed is available in a lot of leagues as well. Some people might have picked him up when Kittle went down. But, you know, that's your three options at tight end. Because a lot of folks don't have... And I think Jordan Reed showed his value. So Jordan Reed could potentially be one of the top... Is definitely going to be probably arguably one of the top, if not the top, waiver wire pickup at that tight end position after what he did. But if you want to talk about Gesicki as a long-term option, he can end up being a top 12 tight end for the season. Jonnu Smith as well. I think when it comes to these tight ends, it's about the fact that they get the targets. Yeah, DK Metcalf is looking pretty good, man. I will say, he's looking startable. Like some of my teams, I'm trying to make adjustments. I think a lot of my squads, I'm having a lot of running back challenges because I made a decision to hold off on running backs on some of them. So you know, I could survive for a little bit. How are you guys doing in your leagues overall? Like I have a few squads that are 0-2. But I have a couple that are also 1-1. I had one last night. That last pass by Drew Brees put me over the edge in one of my leagues. So to win, it was back and forth between because I had Drew Brees and my opponent had Kamara, but I came in with like a 20 point lead and he caught up because Kamara had a really good day yesterday. 2-0. That's what's up, man. I'm 1-1. You know, no, not panicking yet. Let me see here. What's that Panther League looking like, man? Let's see what this Panther League looking like. But just remember, guys, if you're 0-2, there's no reason to panic. I mean, season's far from over. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So don't panic on 0-2. There's no reason to. I mean, I've been in leagues that started 0-4 and I ended up winning the whole thing or getting to the finals. So you don't have to panic when it comes to being 0-2 if you're starting 0-2. It's not time to panic yet. Not time to trade your team away. It's not time for that. Let's see here. So we look at these standings. We got three undefeated teams, man. Big baller brand. Running back's gonna be a challenge for Big Baller Brand, I will say. Yeah, Sutton got hurt. Sutton got hurt week 1. Man, I'll tell you what. You got to start DJ Moore if you have him. You cautious about starting Robbie, man. I mean, it's hard because the Chargers got a really good secondary. Got one of the best in the league. But it's hard to bench DJ Moore right now after the bounce back game he had. So it's very hard to bench DJ Moore unless you got better options. But it's gonna be it's a tough sell to bench DJ Moore, to say the least. Now, for those who need quarterback help, I have some options for you. Some of them might make you sick, but the reality is that they're clocking in. The first option I got for you is Garland Minshew for the Jags. He's had 220, first 2 weeks he's gotten 20 points a pop in fantasy. I mean, if you're getting a quarterback with that level of value, getting 20 points, I mean, you can't really complain too much. And I know when I said Garland Minshew, you guys are probably like, Gardner Minshew, you probably like throwing something at the screen, or you're throwing your phone. But, one of the greatest quotes I've ever done in fantasy football was when somebody was trying to trade me Derek Carr. And it was via text. And I replied back saying, I'd rather play Blake Bortles. And this is when Blake was still with Jacksonville. But at the time, Blake Bortles was slanging it. But you just, he wasn't a good NFL quarterback, but he was a great fantasy quarterback. And that's what looks like we might be seeing with Gardner Minshew. But I think Gardner's got the tools. I just don't think he has the proper help. If you want to talk about Jags receivers, I like Keelan Cole a lot. As long as D.D. Westbrook might have lost his job, man. I know he's recovering from injury, but he probably might have potentially lost his job. So when you take that in mind, I mean, I like Keelan Cole a lot. I mean, it all depends on who you have, what options you got, Mika, whether or not you want to have DJ Moore ride the bench. I'm playing DJ Moore this week because I have him in a league. He's in my flex right now, but I'm playing him. I mean, I'm not going to bench him. In that league, I'm 0-2 as well, but I got to play him because it's the right thing to do. I'm looking to see, I think here's my options, right? Here's my options in this league, man. So, my starting wide receivers are Julio Jones and Chris Godwin. DJ Moore being the flex. My options are Antonio Gibson, AJ Green, Michael Gallup, Darrell Williams, Peyton Barber, and Corey Davis. And I don't think I can play any of those folks ahead of DJ Moore. I can't. So for me, he's staying in. But in this league, I'm going to be looking for another running back. Because David Montgomery is my RB2, which isn't too bad. But I think I might find a better long-term option in the wire. So I'm going to be looking for running backs in the wire in my high-stakes league that I'm 0-2 in. But for me, man, I'm dropping AJ Green. I might wait, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm taking Cam Newton over Deshaun Watson. Cam Newton was responsible for 95% of the yards that the Patriots got last week. A lot of people don't know that. So Cam is running. Cam is throwing. Cam's doing everything. I do kickers and defenses every week too. Unless you have an elite kicker or elite defense. That's what I do. If you got Justin Tucker, I don't think there's a reason to change him. But typically that's what I do. I've won fantasy championships streaming defenses. I've won them streaming kickers. I've won them streaming quarterbacks. I've won them streaming tight ends. So I guess you've learned how I feel about those four positions. I think it's more important to have a strong running back and wide receiver core to get you through the bye weeks. I mean, quarterback, thing is, like, when I went to do the research on like who I could recommend for quarterbacks in the wire, the top 10 to 12 quarterbacks are doing really good. Typically, there's always somebody that's on the wire that's outshining everybody else. But this latest round, that hasn't really been the case, so to speak. So let me see if I can pull this up. If I go QB, then I do on rosters, then I look at the points. So here are the top quarterbacks in fantasy so far. And then I want you to think about where you drafted these guys. Number one is Russell Wilson. Not shocking. Number 2 is Josh Allen. I thought he was going to be great this year, but you could have gotten him late because a lot of folks weren't thinking about Josh Allen. Number 3 is Cam Newton. Some leagues didn't even draft the guy. All right. Right now, he's the 3rd best quarterback in fantasy right now. All right. Number 4 is Kyler Murray. You could have got him late. Number 5 is Dak Prescott. Could have got him late. Matt Ryan, he was taken a little bit higher. He's number 6. Aaron Rodgers, could have got him late. He was later than what people think he was. Patrick Mahomes, there was somebody that took him in the first round in the Panther Nation podcast draft. And then you have Lamar Jackson, who didn't have a good game last week by his standards. So, like, Lamar Jackson right now in fantasy is 9th. Mike Williams. Give me Mike Williams over Edelman. Although you can't go wrong with either option, really. I just think because the Chargers playing the Panthers, I think whoever the quarterback's going to be, they're going to be able to do whatever they want. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are going to freaking kill us on Sunday. And Big Ben is number 10. Deshaun Watson is 11. Jimmy Garoppolo is 12. Matthew Stafford is 13. Drew Brees is 14. Tom Brady is 15. And right behind them, Teddy Bridgewater at 16. So, to put it in perspective, Big Ben at 10 has 39 fantasy points so far. The leader, Russell Wilson, has 62. So you're talking about 11-point delta between the two per week. So, but as time goes on, it'll get a little bit closer for the top quarterbacks. But there's some leagues that didn't even draft Cam Newton, and right now he's the 3rd best quarterback in fantasy, which goes back to my point that you can wait late to find a quarterback. Oh, wait a minute. I did the wrong thing. I gave y'all the wrong rankings. Give me 1 second. I apologize. So the top 9 quarterbacks was right. Wilson, Allen, Newton, Murray, Prescott, Ryan, Rodgers, Mahomes, Jackson. The 10th best quarterback in fantasy is Ryan Tannehill. Excuse me. And Ryan Tannehill is available in a lot of leagues. He's a top 10 quarterback. Number 11 is Gardner Minshew. Number 12 is Ben Roethlisberger. And number 13 is Joe Burrow. Deshaun Watson is 15. And Drew Brees is 20. And Tom Brady is 22. So Tom Brady and Drew Brees is pretty much droppable from a quarterback's perspective. If you have Drew Brees or Tom Brady just starting, and I have Brady starting in the Panther Nation Podcast League, so I am planning on going out for a quarterback in the wire this week in our league because I think I can improve with the situation with it. But yeah, man. I mean, Tom Brady is 22. Teddy Bridgewater is 23. So Tom Brady has 1 point ahead. Now, what I said earlier about the delta between the top 10, and it's only an 18-point difference between number 1 and number 10, between Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill. So that equates to 9 points a game. But then when you look at from Tannehill to Deshaun Watson, there's only a 7-point difference. So 10 to 15, there's only a 7-point difference. Oh, Cam's on pace, dude. Cam's on pace to end up being number 1. But I think it's gonna I think I could see it being Russell, Russ, Allen, Cam. I wouldn't be Kyler. I think that's going to end up being the top 4 when it's all said and done. Because Josh Allen is balling, dude. He is balling. He's getting it in. Yeah, I talked about Myles Gaskin earlier from the Dolphins because he's going to get the bulk of the work in Miami. Like, you always want to be fine with grabbing running backs that's going to get the bulk of the work because you want to go after the volume. I mean, he ain't going to be Christian McCaffrey, but I don't need him to be. But he could be RB2 for you, potentially a flex play. Josh Allen might not have played anybody. And it's funny, the league that I'm looking at it, there's one person has Josh Allen and Russell Wilson. He's got the top 2 quarterbacks. He should trade one of them, but I might offer him something for Josh Allen. Let's see what I can see if I get him to bite because he's got he's holding 2 quarterbacks. But we'll see. I'm gonna see about making him see if I can make him bite. Yeah, man, they're droppable. Actually, I think I would keep James White, but I think Michelle's droppable. Yeah, he hasn't played anybody yet, but I think the fact that he's getting these carries, man, like he got 14 carries against the Jets. I'm talking about Josh Allen. He's got 14 carries against the Jets and he got 4 carries against Miami. So from that standpoint, he's getting some rushes too. And so he's getting those type of points as well. And he threw for 400 yards last week, which is insane. I don't even know what the Thursday night game is. What's the Thursday night game? It's probably something terrible. Oh, nah. Jags, Dolphins. Nah, there's a few plays there. There's a couple folks you can play. If you're desperate wide receiver, if D.D. Westbrook is deactivated, Keelan Cole is an option. James Robinson, the running back for the Jags. For the Dolphins, you could probably, for a flex play, you could definitely play Myles Gaskin. And you could also play the tight end, Mike Gesicki, excuse me. They said they're going to sit Tua for a year. I don't think he's going to play. Unless there's injuries, I don't think Tua's playing this year. I think the plan was to sit him. So, I don't think they haven't benched Fitz yet. Fitz is still starting. All right, let's see. Brady or Burrow? Give me Burrow. Brady ain't got it, man. He looks old. He looked old week 1, and I got to see him firsthand week 2 live. He looks old. If the Bucs are smart, they will make sure they keep having a decent run game for him because he's going to need one because he looks old. Looks very old. Yeah, if Lindsey's out 3 to 4 weeks, I know somebody asked the question if Lindsey's droppable earlier. See if I can find it. I said I don't think I'm ready to do that yet, so I do remember that. I'm dropping AJ Green this week in one of my leagues. I mean, it's tough, but I feel like I can I can fix other things. So yeah, I'm making a lot of moves in some of my leagues. Cause I have Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's. I'm done. I'm done with I'm impatient with Brady, to say the least. I don't know if Royce is worth the ad yet. Right now, I'm looking at Russell Gage for AJ Green in one of my high stakes leagues. I gotta double check the wide receiver core that's available. Let me check real quick. Oh, there's some better options out here. Christian Kirk's available. Let me see here. N'Keal Harry is interesting in a PPR league too, because Cam likes the kid. I mean, he's getting a consistent 10 out of Cam. He got 15 points last week. So, I mean, a 5-target guy, he can be a flex player or wide receiver too. It's time to drop Gronk. Yeah, Freeman is still with the Broncos, man. Yeah, why did you bench Diggs? What were your other options? Nobody looks older right now than Tom Brady, bro. Tom looked old, man. Breeze looked old last night, too. That is right. That was Harry that fumbled, didn't it? So he would have had double-digit points both games if he didn't do that. That's an 8-point swing. Appreciate it, Slim J. Appreciate the super chat donation. So let's tie this up in a bow. If you need running back help, short term, Mike Davis is your best option until McCaffrey comes back. Long term, look at Myles Gaskin, look at Joshua Kelly. Those are probably your two best options with regards to that. For wide receivers, I like Russell Gage a lot. I like Corey Davis. He's available. I like the fact because Devontae Adams is out. MVS, Alan Lazard are some pretty good options there. And that's all I got. And McCole Hardman, if you're really desperate to get the third wide receiver from the Chiefs, that's another kid that you can take advantage of. Traquan Smith, depending on how long Mike Thomas is out, you can go after him. And of course, I still believe in Malcolm Brown. I just don't know if I'm going to play him again this week after what happened to me last week. Luckily, it didn't cost me last week in that league that I had him. With regards to tight end, Jonnu Smith, Mike Gesicki. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering his name, and Jordan Reed are my top three. I will probably go Gesicki, Smith, and then the third guy, and Jordan Reed, in that order. What's up, Rashad? Join you in retirement. Never! Why would I want to do that? I'm not ready to say Benny Snell's droppable. I wouldn't drop him yet. I would monitor. I wouldn't start. I wouldn't play him, but I think that's somebody you can keep on the roster for now. And the last, not least, is the quarterback situation. If you have Tom Brady, if you have Drew Brees, look into Gardner Minshew, look into Joe Burrow, and look into Ryan Tannehill. They're all ranked higher than Tom Brady and Drew Brees right now. I know it's 2 weeks, But, should consider it. Yeah, I wouldn't drop Snell. Because Snell's going to have opportunity if Connor gets hurt again. No phone lines today, man. But I appreciate you guys coming. This is good. I mean, if I get enough people in here, I'm cool with doing this every week. Aaron Jones could be a league winner, as long as they keep him, as long as they give him his work. Oh man, he probably made $1 million for somebody last week in daily though. That's for sure. McKinnon's a good pickup if you need a running back for this week. I think long term, once the other running backs return, McKinnon's probably going to be the third option behind Mostert and Tevin Coleman. I mean, because there's a three-headed monster in San Francisco. Like when you go after running backs, you want to try to deal with group. In the perfect world, you want to have running backs that gets the bulk of the carries. Oh boy, there's shots at each streaming. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for next week. I know, because we're not playing Tom Brady, so we're not gonna get the game next week for sure. I'm pretty confident of it. It's a late game though, so you never know. It's a 4:00 game, so maybe they'll show it. Devontae Freeman with the Giants. I'm cautious. I think out of the three, I probably would take him if you got some time to wait. I don't think Freeman's going to do anything this week with them. I don't think he's going to get too many carries with them. If Mostert and Tevin Coleman's out, I would start McKinnon over Montgomery. All right, Slim. I'm gonna potentially take you up on that offer, sir. I got a place to go. But I'm hoping to try to get something that's more closer to what's happening in the game. But at this point, I might not care. Anybody got any questions regarding about who's droppable, who's not droppable? Okay. I'll look into that, sir. I'm thankful. I can tell you a funny story about Hines. I spent a third of my free agency budget on Hines last week, and I'm ready to drop him. My pride might get in the way though, but I might have to do it because I'm looking at my options. Yeah, Tyler Boyd might have emerged as the wide receiver one, but what I've also learned is that I think AJ having it rough is because he's pretty much protecting Boyd, because AJ's probably getting all the tough coverage. There's nothing wrong with dropping Hines for Mike Davis. I would do that in a heartbeat. That was my original plan. I was going to drop Hines for Davis, but you know what happened? Davis was already gone. Somebody picked him up already. Mike Davis. Mike Davis is probably the top option to replace C-Mac if you have C-Mac. If you have C-Mac in fantasy, you should pick up Mike Davis immediately. If you're desperate for a running back and you don't have C-Mac, then you should pick up Mike Davis. Mike Davis is my top fantasy acquisition in the wire this week. He's number one. I mean, I would play Chubb. Why not? I don't know if Bonafonte's going to get enough work to make it warranted. There was a debate between me and Rashad about how much percentage that Mike Davis is going to get. He probably won't get the same percentage as McCaffrey. McCaffrey was in the 93 percentile when it came to that. But for carries. But I could see Mike Davis getting like 80% of the carries, and if he gets 80% of 20 carries, I mean that's still 16 touches. Who would I trade for now? I would try to go after McCaffrey now. I think you won't be able to get McCaffrey for a much lower price than right now. I'm gonna be honest with regards to the Giants. If I need a running back in a PPR league desperately, and Mike Davis isn't there, Josh Kelly isn't there, Jerick McKinnon isn't there, I recommend you go after Deion Lewis. But if you got a little bit of time and you can wait this thing out, and you want to pick up somebody, and you know that Mike Davis is going to be gone by the time he'll come to you because you got a good record, I would try to grab Freeman. If you talk about running backs to grab, I'll probably rank them Mike Davis. Let me look up my list real quick. Give me a second. I will rank them. Mike Davis is number 1 by far. Josh Kelly number 2. And now this is assuming short term, not long term. So, Mike Davis, Josh Kelly, Jerick McKinnon, Myles Gaskin, and let me see. That's probably the ranking of his short term. Long term, if you think McCaffrey's going to come back in 3 weeks or less, 3 or 4 weeks, I would try to go after Josh Kelly, Myles Gaskin, and that's pretty much the long-term choices. I mean, the Giants running backs, if you could try to get 2 of them, and then you can wait it out and hope one of them pops, that's an option too. But, yeah, the Giants situation is a mess now. It's going to be a 3-headed monster. Yeah, but C-Mac said he's going to try to get back sooner than the 4 weeks, which I think is a bad idea. Who would I trade for McCaffrey? Well, the thing right now is that depending on the situation, like if you got somebody that has McCaffrey but they're like 0-2 or 1-1, then you definitely have a lot of leverage. So you probably could get away with trading a little bit less. I mean, I believe that you would have to if a healthy McCaffrey would cost you a top 10 running back and possibly a top 15 wide receiver to get him. So you probably could offer up a wide receiver 2, a low-end wide receiver 2, somebody that might have had a pop recently, and I would probably do. I completely lost my train of thought. That's how I know it's getting late, because I'm old. Oh yeah, I would for right now McCaffrey's value, it would be a wide receiver 2, and maybe like a fringe RB1, maybe a top 15 to 20 RB1 running back. I mean, try to, but then they still might wait it out. It all depends on the situation of that team. Like if that team is in shape, like you look and see what they really need. Like McCaffrey's a big loss, and if they didn't draft well after McCaffrey, they might need a lot. What's my team record? I'm in 5 leagues, bro. So I will say none of my teams are 2-0 because I went 0-5 week 1. So I have in the podcast league, for the podcast lead, I'm 1-1 because I won this week. I won week 2. In my high stakes league, I'm 0-2, but I'm never in that league. I always start slow and then I pick it up at the end. Like last year in that league, I started slow. The year before that, I started 0-4 and I made it to the finals. So I don't really, with regards to that league, I don't really worry about that. Yeah, let me see. I'll pull up the deal with that one. Let me see if I can remember how that one went. Let's see. Standings. Scoreboard. Yeah, in 2018. Yeah, 2018 I started super slow, and that's for that team. I remember that vividly because it was rough. That was a rough one. I started like I started 0-4 if I remember. No, I started 0-3. I started 0-3. I entered the season 6-6. I made it to the 4th seed, beat the top seed, and made it to the finals. Lost in the finals. So in my high stakes league, I'm 0-2. In the podcast league, I'm 1-1. In my work league, I'm 0-2. But that's another one I'm not panicking about because I've won that. We've had 7 seasons and I've won 5 of them, so I'm not too concerned. If you had to choose Mike McKinnon or Mike Davis on the waiver wire, Mike Davis is my top pick. Mike Davis by far, not even close. I mean, Mike Davis. He's a more longer term solution than McKinnon too. Like, you know, McKinnon might only go off for 1 week because he didn't have anybody behind them. But then after that, he's going to have problems because McKinnon is benefiting from the fact that the 2 running backs in front of him are going to be out. McKinnon's going to get the bulk of the work, and then he still might have to deal with Jeff Wilson Jr. too. So he might have to share with Jeff Wilson Jr. All right, so but versus Mike Davis, we know that Mike Davis is going to get the bulk of the work in Carolina. I don't know, man. I doubt it, but I think Davis is going to get the opportunity to get 100 yards. So, but everybody's hyping up that Breida, and I don't know why. Maybe you guys know something I don't know, but I don't know why. I don't think I would trade for Matt Breida because I don't think he's got the starting job anymore. I think I'd rather have Myles Gaskins. I think Myles Gaskins is the starter in Miami. Yeah, like Mike Davis, even if he doesn't run for 100 yards, he'll probably get 10 catches. Doesn't like Mike Davis is going to get his. Doesn't mean I think we're going to win, but he's going to get his. He's definitely going to get his. All right, 2-minute warning, guys. 10 o'clock, I'm shutting down for sure. Davis is an RB2, low-end RB2. So, I mean, he's startable, but it's about who you get. I mean, I probably would be starting Chubb over Davis this week, but I think Mike Davis is going to have a higher floor because of the fact that I know he's going to get catches and stuff. So it's all about what you expect out of your guys. I would start Chubb over Mike Davis. Yeah, you can start Hunt in the flex. If you got Hunt and Chubb, you can start both every week, truth be told. All right. Not a problem, man. Not a problem at all. But it is 10 o'clock. I want to do this for an hour. This was fun. Just let me know if you want to do this at an earlier time. I had to do it late today because my daughter had a birthday, and I want to make sure she got to spend time with some of her friends. Yeah, I mean, I start when I'm drafting my players, and it's so early in the season right now. I don't really get into matchups until we're like at bye week time. Once the bye week starts, then I start thinking about matchups. Like the fact that we didn't have no preseason, and some teams didn't really have a full off season like that. I'm not trying to ruffle the feathers when it comes to matchups yet, because people are still trying to figure out who's who in the zoo with regards to these players. But all right, man. If you got any more fancy questions, you can follow me on Twitter at champd1012, champd1012. Make sure you, if you haven't yet already, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because me or Rashad does do a lot of content. Rashad's been doing a lot of shorts as of late. I'm more of a long form person when it comes to my content. So that's why I said I'll go on for an hour to answer questions and things of that nature. So just follow me on Twitter. If you have any questions there, I'll answer them to my best of my ability. And you guys have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys next week. And always remember, keep pounding.